Zoe, the secret to my ramen noodle soup is the paste that I make, the flavour. That's the most important part of it. You've got to get that part of it right.
All right.
And everything from there will just come together beautifully.
It falls into place.
Now, to start with, I've got some ginger and some garlic here. I want about a tablespoon of ginger grated and about a half a tablespoon of garlic grated. Now, in my bowl here, I'm just going to add a nice little sploosh of sesame oil. About a teaspoon will be enough. And I've got a tablespoon of vegetable oil going in there as well. You could use olive oil if you want as well.
Lovely.
And I've got some mirin here, about 2 tablespoons of mirin in there as well.
Oh, lovely.
And I'm going to add some of this stuff here, which is a chilli paste. You can use Szechuan chilli paste if you want, or
nice.
you know, the
That'd be
sriracha
lovely.
chilli. I want it nice and spicy.
Hot, fiery food. I love it.
Exactly. And I'll just put about a tablespoon of that in there. Now, I've got some miso here, some dark miso.
I love that you're using miso.
I thought you'd like this. There's a couple other of your ingredients here that I'm going to use as well. And
I'm rubbing off on him.
Slowly. And I've got some light miso as well. So about a tablespoon of each in there. And then what I'll do is with this knife here, I'll just pick up the garlic and the ginger, pop it into here.
Lovely.
And I'm going to hand this over to you. What I want you to do is mix that around, Zoe, till it becomes like a paste.
OK, great.
Now, this amount here is probably enough to do about 4 portions. We're only going to do 2. Now, what I'm going to get you to do, I'm going to start cooking here, Zoe.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is those shiitake mushrooms there.
Yes.
I want you to quarter them. Leave the stems on and just quarter them all the way down the middle. Now, what I've got is a pan here. And just before you do that, I'm going to ask you to grab me some olive oil as well.
No problem.
So into my pan goes the onions, and I'm going to pour in a nice big splush of olive oil. Now, if you're cooking Asian food, you'd probably use peanut oil or vegetable oil or something like that, but I've got beautiful olive oil there, so why not use that? Into the pot it goes, and you can see my onions. I've cut them into nice long strips like that, so I want them to be sort of float in the dish as I'm using it.
So they're almost like a vegetable for the dish as opposed to sort of a base.
Exactly, like a garnish or something, something like that. Now, I've got some chilies in there as well. You know, for Japanese, they might not want to put that much chili into it, but I love long red chilies, and I'll throw them in there. Look at you with those mushrooms. Fantastic job. Now, just give that a bit of a stir. This is up quite high. I'd probably recommend that if you're going to do this at a slightly lower temperature, but we're professionals here. We're going flat out, so just stir that around. Now, that's softened up a little bit and caramelised around the outside. In goes some pork. Now, I mean, portion size is something you always talk about.
Absolutely.
I've got about 150 grams of pork here for the both of us.
Okay.
If you wanted to, you could go, a little bit more. If you wanted to use another meat, you could use chicken, you could use turkey,
Even some crumbled hard tofu.
Yeah, you stopped me in my tracks there. Yes, tofu would be a great alternative to meat, but you know what? With the tofu, I've sometimes made this and put the tofu in at the end.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So I've even done that. There we go. I've even done that. Now, what I'm going to do is grab some of this paste and I'll sweat it off the pork. See how the minced pork has just sort of fallen apart, which is exactly what I want. Now, I'm going to put in a couple of spoons, 2 spoons, 2 for each person of the paste. And what I do is I'll stir that around there like that. And you can smell that paste is already coming
really
through.
Lovely.
It's really strong.
Really nice.
If you wanted to, you could add a little bit more of it if you like it to be a lot stronger. So what I'm going to do now is add these shiitake mushrooms, and I'll let that stir around like that. Now, that'll take about a minute to sweat down, but I reckon this is coming together really quickly. So what I'm going to get you to do is pass me those noodles there.
Fantastic.
That big bowl of noodles. That's about 250 grams of noodles. I usually work to about 100, 125, 150 grams of pasta or noodles per person. And in my water here, I'm just going to throw these noodles straight in.
So these are an egg wheat-based noodle, is it?
These are a wheat noodle.
So you could use a rice noodle if you're gluten intolerant as well?
Rice noodles, soba noodles, you could use all of those sorts of noodles. So in they go, and I've got my little chopsticks here. I like stirring noodles with chopsticks. I just spin it around like that.
Very authentic.
You could use a wooden spoon if you want, but you sort of pick them up, make sure that they're not very, make sure they don't stick together. Just keep stirring them around like that. And you just see I snuck a little pinch of salt in there as well.
That. There's no point in me even saying anything anymore.
Of course I'm going to season it. Now, I've got some chicken broth here. You could use, beef broth or, chicken broth that you bought, vegetable broth as well, or even tofu broth? Do they even make that sort of thing?
But they make miso.
Miso, there we go. You could use some miso in there or some dashi and some water, whatever you wanted to do. Now, what I'll do is let that come to the boil, because the pork's already cooked. That'll take a couple of minutes. The noodles will be about another minute or so away. Then we'll arrange all the garnish and we'll get ready to plate this up. Okay, Zoe, look at the noodles are just about there. I'm about to take them out. My broth is coming on nicely. And I've got some Vitasoy here, a little bit of soy milk in here.
I like this a lot.
The Japanese love their soy milk. They love their soya beans, so I thought, why not?
We get to have Australian-made products, even better.
Fantastic. Now, look at this. This is my noodles. I'll just pick them up like that. And, oh, my goodness. Look at that. Put them into the middle there. Turn them around so they sit up.
Beautiful.
And then with my ladle, what I'm going to do is grab some of the broth here. And you can see that the soy milk makes it go a little bit milky.
Lovely.
That's what I want. Straight into the middle here.
Now, can I do something here?
The spring onions and the garlic chives. I want you to chop them up as quickly as you can. Beautiful. There we go. You're amazing at chopping now. It's just fantastic. I've just watched over the years how you've just gone. You're like it explodes now, doesn't it?
I've got no choice. He's like, come on, come on, come on.
I've got to push now. That looks nice like that. So what I'm going to add is some salted soya beans. These you can find in any Asian grocery store. A few of them on the side. What we do is we sort of season it up now and just add a few bits and pieces to the top of it.
Gorgeous.
I've got some nori sheets we tuck on the side here. I've got some eggs, some boiled eggs.
Oh, I love that.
What I did with these is I put the eggs in their shell into a pot of cold water, bring it up to the boil. As soon as it boils, I time it for 3 minutes exactly, then cool it down, take the shell off it, soak it in some soy sauce, quarter of a cup of soy sauce, quarter of a cup of sugar and a quarter of a cup of mirin. Let it sit there overnight or at least a couple of hours and you get this lovely colour on the outside.
And they do, it really does taste like, it's like a caramelising of the egg. It's just gorgeous.
It does, it does. And then I've got some shallots on there, or spring onions as I like to call them, some garlic chives, some toasted sesame seed, and I've got these over here which are some pickled bok choy on the side there.
Yum.
Have a look at that. It looks like a crack of a meal. It looks like something
beautiful.
You would find on the streets, isn't it?
I'm
Look
looking
at
forward
that.
to trying this. I want to get a little bit of the...
Taste the broth. That's the most important part of it. Oh, that's delicious. Nice bit of spice in there.
Lovely.
You can taste that miso. Look at you, Zoe. You're just ripping into it, aren't you?
I really love foods like this. For me, they're comforting type foods. I mean, I tweak this a little bit so it has a little less salt in it.
Sure.
But I really do like it. I love the flavour. I like the pork.
The pork's in there, and this is the trick. If you can get the noodles to sort of wiggle around there, to sit in there, and then what you do is slip it all down. I think this is a cracker. I can't wait for your dish, but I'm going to eat these noodles.